Today I'm talking to over 40 home service business owners that are trying to grow past $1 million in annual revenue. We're going to be talking about how to switch from one-time projects into recurring work. We're going to talk about upsells and the process of handing off all your admin tasks so you can get off the truck and focus on sales. There's a bunch of questions, a lot of rider downers, a lot of good golden nuggets. So without any further delay, let's jump right in.
Hey, thanks for doing this, Mike. I really appreciate it. So I'm planning for 2026. We did roughly 300K last year, and 30% of that was gutter cleaning. I'm really trying to come up with a way to get my clients on recurring gutter cleaning, and then maybe splashing some window cleaning in there eventually. But I want to keep it super simple in order to get, the foundation set for the gutter cleaning and get myself comfortable with selling that and getting everybody on a recurring schedule. We had a 60% close rate last year. Okay. And we were charging roughly $145 an hour. I'm looking at maybe trying to bump that up to close to $155, $165 per man hour this year. How would you structure this as a whole?
Yeah. So right now, when you're doing your pricing, how are you giving the prices? Are you saying, hey, it's an hourly rate? Are you giving it based upon like the size of the house? How are you doing it?
So then that's kind of what I'm in the middle of right now as well. I've downloaded a CSV file of my client's home address and then the charge that they were given for the gutter cleaning. And I'm trying to simplify and standardize how we're quoting these homes. I want to kind of base it off of square footage at this point in my average price per square foot.
Okay. And if you had to give me a range, what would 80% of the gutter cleanings fall in terms of prices? Like 80%. So cut the bottom 10%, the top 10%, but like what would the middle 80% be?
I will tell you that our average gutter cleaning last year was $360.
When you said that, when you go back, when you were giving the prices, were you saying, hey, this is our $145 per hour, or were you saying package pricing?
So basically, I didn't give them an hourly rate. I didn't tell them how long we were going to be on job. I just said, hey, let's just say it's $300 for your gutter cleaning.
Got it. And that was based upon just like asking them a couple questions?
Yeah, and I was doing a lot of in-person estimates last year, but this year I'm looking to simplify that as well and do a lot of over-the-phone estimates.
Yeah. So like, I think, especially when it comes to gutters, you have like, not a ton of equipment typically. And so you can get away with really doing like a small, medium, and large. So like when we add instant quotes to Homeworks later this year, I would highly recommend using it for the service. You will crush and you'll be able to charge a higher price because people like in general, there are, and I'm sure you know this, like when you say $300 to clean out some gutters, some people freak out and think that's nuts. Other people are like, oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah. When can you get on the schedule? And so you will get all of the ladder with instant quotes and you won't even have to like really like think about raising your prices as much as like just packaging of that better. I would also say, Toby, like a big thing with gutters when it comes to cleanouts is the upsells. Do you have a kind of other ancillary stuff that you sell?
So yes, exactly. We are a pressure washing company as well. But I know that everyone needs gutter cleaning and we do exterior window cleaning as well. That's not necessarily a necessity. However, people love that, right? So really, gutter cleaning is our necessary service, and then the other services are just kind of as needed.
Yeah, one thing that I see being really successful, I just talked to a company out in New Jersey. They do about 1.5 doing gutters, just cleaning. And so one thing I'd recommend and what we're pushing them to do is like have a small and large in terms of pricing. So if your average was $360, it's very possible you get most of your customers to fall into like a $199 or a $399. I'm just making that number up. But and then that way you can very quickly over the phone or even on your website be able to qualify them in terms of which one of those they are. But then incentivize your crew on site around all the different upsells that they can do on site. For example, they show up for a $199 and they leave that place with $1,000 because they're like, oh, well, while we're here, would you like us to do the downspouts? Would you like us to go ahead and do some moss removal treatment? Would you like us to go ahead and do the pressure washing? So like, I would really, really bake that in as your entry-level service to be able to upsell them 5 other things.
Awesome. Yeah, because we're on the same page because that's the goal. And I've already created like a pricing sheet for when they do see something on site. It just basically our hourly rate times however long they think it's going to take.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Like everyone always begs on Augusta because when we come in a new market, we go pretty low on price. But what they fail to realize is like if I make $800 a year from mowing, whoop-de-doo. I'm trying to make $2,000 or $3,000 on higher margin services. I would look at the gutters as an entry level. Everyone needs it. And then I'd be trying to give them five other things while you're on site. They like your guys, you're professional. You give the guys a cut of whatever they sell on site. So they're super incentivized.
Sounds good, Mike. Thank you.
You got it. Michael, you're up.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you. So I am a new business. I started in November. Obviously, we get snow in Regina. So I'm just trying to prepare marketing for the spring rush. So I'm just kind of wondering what your thoughts on like basically just trying to canvas like the entire areas that I'm want to service. I'm getting the truck deckled. I'm gonna get, those portable billboard signs that you can get like graphics on and stuff like that. I'm gonna get three of those put out. Planning on doing like 5,000 door hangers and then 100-yard signs. And like that's basically the extent. I'm trying to do it mostly physical instead of digital. I don't really want to screw around with figuring out Facebook ads at the moment. I'm just kind of wondering like what your thoughts on that, or if you could add anything to that.
Yeah, the two things is you're basically going to your testing phase. And so all these things that you're trying, just make sure that you're asking every customer where they're coming from. Because given the fact that you're doing all these at the same time, it's very difficult to attribute where leads are coming from. So you have to ask customers. And also as an asterisk, keep in mind, they might have called because of the yard sign, but they saw your trucks 10 times. And so just keep that as an asterisk. But you'll need to know where these leads are coming from because you're running everything at the same time. And then also, as a side note, any dollar you spend will become much more effective if your website looks good because they're all going to still go to your website. They see the yard sign, they search you. They see your truck, they search you. They see a door hanger, they're still going to go search you. So just make sure your website, if you do spend a dollar on anything digital, do it on your website first because it'll compound to your print marketing.
Yeah, my website, like I just built it maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, so I still need to steadily improve it, like with photos and things like that. That's kind of why I don't want to do digital because I know it's like not up to snuff, but it's good enough for a landing page, basically.
80% will still go to even from print will still go to your website. Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
So like people don't look at your truck and copy the phone number. They look at your truck, they see the name of the business and they go search it on Google.
Okay. Obviously, I'm just trying to build up Google reviews and stuff like that. For snow removal, is there a world where you can do budgeted hours for snow removal, or is it kind of like just a thing where you just kind of got to track it over a few seasons and then like kind of see where certain size properties land?
Yeah, you'll only get accurate budget hours based upon like either time motion studies or just tracking over the course of time. Most of the time with snow, the challenging part is your budget hours vary based upon the depth of the snow, as well as if it's wet, if it's dry, like the wind, like there's so many variables. So most people have a pretty general idea of budgeted hours based upon snow depth. But again, every single equipment setup totally will change that. Like whether you have a back blade, a front blade, a V plow, like it just goes, there's so many variables. So the main thing is getting the reps so that you can actually compare budget hours versus actual hours. And then how deep was the snow? Over the course of time, you'll have a pretty good idea though, based upon that information, how long jobs should take.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Is there any way that you could ever do pay per performance on snow, or is it just kind of more like it's too variable, do you think?
Yeah, great question. I'm actually having a call with Stefano, our DG up in Ontario next week because he wants to do P4P at his place. The reason it's nice with P4P is you can try to get around the whole problem of like keeping people on salary for the entire snow season, right? Because that just kills your margins. The challenging part though with P4P is you're incentivizing speed a lot. And so you have to really crack down on quality because one damage case with snow could be a $50,000 mistake. If they make a mistake on mowing grass, it's like, okay, we put some seed down. Whoop-de-doo. So you got to be really, really careful with incentivizing speed when it comes to snow because you're putting people's lives at danger and like much bigger damage cases. And so I would just really, like, it depends on like your setup, how much equipment you have going on, what kind of properties you're doing as to whether or not I would even do P4P. So like the one time we used to not do P4P. We don't do this anymore. But back in the day when we first started P4P, the one service I didn't do P4P was snow plowing because we did border patrol facilities, and like there's no way I'm going to allow my crew to be doing snow plowing around some of that equipment trying to go fast. Now, that being said, if
Yeah.
you have big open commercial, shopping centers, let's go. Put those bad boys on P4P. I don't really care about them going quicker with the equipment, but be very careful with P4P and snow because your cost of damages is significantly higher.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Eddie, you're up.
Glad to be here. Just signed up today. Thanks for having me. Question about whether I should enter growth or profit mode. I'm at a point. We just sold 300,000 in sales last year. A third was profit. I feel like I should add another unit to the fleet. I have 2 currently. Profit for lawns have been decent. Landscaping projects, much more profit from. So maybe within the 10 to 20% range for lawns, but way more for landscaping, like I said. But I was also in the field working, so I was making more because I was actually on the landscape jobs more than cutting grass. We did 160 lawns on average. We did anywhere between 2 to 4 landscape projects on the side. I think I have room to raise profits, but I really feel like I should try and grow some more and add more work. I wonder what you think.
Yeah, so you're under capacity when it comes to your assets. Do you do 1-man or 2-man crews?
1 crew of 2 and then another crew of 2, but I was also in that. So it'd be a crew of 3. The crew of 3 would mow 2 days a week and landscape 3.
Cool. And then you have 3 trucks?
2.
Oh, you have 2 trucks. Okay, then I
Right.
apologize. I heard 3. My apologies. So how do you mind how much cash do you have in hand?
100,000.
Okay, so you want to go in growth mode because right now you're the tail end, the back end of the solo operator size, and you're in the working GM, like where you have
Yes.
you're out in the field, you're managing the team, but you're still out in the field working. I want you to
Yes.
get above 500,000. Then we think about profit mode, right? So if you read the book, like we always
I
get
did.
past 500,000 first because now, and this is the thing, this is why most people at your size will go focus on projects because you are making twice as much profit, like 30% versus 15 or 10%, right? The
Yes.
difference is with projects, I don't have them recurring and stacking on top of each other. If when you go into profit mode, you will raise your prices by at least 20% and immediately you take a 10% profit margin job to 30%. And so most people never get to profit mode, so they never think that the recurring work actually pays them anything. And so I would still focus on that recurring revenue because that's the thing that when you hit 500,000, you pull one lever and make 100 grand extra a year. And that's the money that you use for a general manager or someone else to help with management. You
Gotcha.
can't do that with projects because you're always in the hunt for the next project.
Right.
So I would still keep doing what you're doing. Just don't lose
Yes.
faith in the recurring side. 160 is good. And I would just say the only reason I would be telling you at 300 to go into profit mode is if you were cash constrained. With 100 grand, you absolutely can get another truck, couple more employees, get past $500,000 this year, go into next spring rush, raise prices by 20% on let's call it 220 to 250 lawns, and all of a sudden draw an extra $10,000 to $15,000 in straight profit to the bottom line.
Love that. Yeah. So the next step is to get the lawns, is to get the more recurring work. I have a competitor across the street from me who I actually used to work for growing up, and he is pretty big in my market as well. We're about even, I'd say. And there's another company that's also very close, locally wise, who is about triple us. So I'm in a tight spot, and I feel bad trying to compete against him. He's literally my neighbor. But do you have any tips on just best way to get a new customer?
Yeah, as much as you might like your competitors, the bottom line is most of your customers are going to come from an existing service. Everyone always does their advertising as if everyone has never used a service before. When the reality is, when I'm, let's call it 50 years old and I have a bunch of money, I choose to go from me mowing my lawn to someone else mowing my lawn one time. And for the next 30 years of my life, I'm just trying to choose the best service.
Yes.
And so I would highly recommend for everyone to market in the way which is going after existing customers of other companies. Now, I'm not going to bash them, but I am going to speak to all the pain points they're experiencing with their my competitor's service, right? So this is why just having a great product works, is because if you make sure that your trucks are wrapped, the guys are professional, you have automations, you answer the phone every single time, that's the thing as to why they will leave someone else.
Got it. Awesome.
As
Thank
much
you,
as you
Mike.
might love the
That's awesome.
competitors.
Yeah, I know.
I don't, because they're not on the call. I hate them. You're going to demolish them. You're going to crush them. But ultimately, you're just trying to do a better product and then pitch why you're better than everyone else without saying I'm better than everyone else. You're just going to say, here's what we do. And you know that they can't compete with that. right? So for example, at Augusta, we're changing our website in 2 weeks and we're leaning into like two things that no one else can compete with. And that is like, we answer our phone every time, guaranteed 24/7. And we're backed by 200 locations nationally. No one can compete with that. And now there's gonna be some people who are turned off by the fact that we're like a national company, but I know that there's a 40% of the market that likes that. And they're willing to pay for a national brand that they can trust because they're tired of churning and burning through chucking of trucks. You just got to figure out what your unique selling proposition is in your market, what your competitors can't do, and then just blare that on your website because that's the reason people are leaving, and that's how you'll get a lower customer acquisition cost because it just speaks to their need.
Got it. I have one last question for you. Do you think it's time for me to step back from the work field?
No. Until you are over 500,000, you got to stay as a working GM, and that is you out in the field producing revenue. The difference between a $350,000 to $400,000 location that makes money and one that makes 30% profit and one that makes nothing is whether or not the owner, in your case, I call it working GM, is in the field working. Because if you took how much revenue you produced last year, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was over 100,000, if you take that out, the business makes no money.
Correct.
Right? So focus on growth, get the business over to 500,000, and now you focusing on sales might get to 800,000 or $1 million. Then we're good.
I can see that.
That's when you go into the full-time GM mode where you're over 750,000.
Okay.
But you won't be 30% profit if tomorrow you're like, I'm going to go work on sales only. You just wiped out all your profit.
Don't split it. Stay in.
For now. Now you have like significant capital. There's a really good chance that you hit this spring rush, you get 1 or 2 more trucks, a few employees, and your run rate is now 60, 70,000 a month. And a lot of it's recurring, especially if it's a lot of recurring. Then I might give you the green light to go, okay, I'm going to go focus on sales. I'm going for the moon. You have enough capital to do that.
Well, I guess I'll be in another meeting later on to see if that's the right time.
Good stuff. Drew, you're up.
So we did $500,000 last year. We are a general contracting business specializing in a lot of flat work and concrete work. And
Just so I'm clear, Drew, the contracting, is that 500,000 to you or is that top line to contractors?
that is net revenue of the business.
Thank you.
Yeah. I still have not paid myself. So I'm working GM just like Michael, very similar situation, trying to scale the business. But my question to you is, I am really struggling to hire a foreman and someone that can lead these crews and lead these jobs. And, I want to buy 2 trucks. I want to get crews. And something I didn't mention is I work for general contractors, some doing between 1 million and some doing 20 million a year. So there's no problem with influx of work. Obviously they take their 10 to 30% cut, for marketing and collections and escalations and all that stuff. But I guess my question right now is just, I need help hiring. Where do I go for that? Where do you go for that?
First off, in the 4L framework, because leads are quote unquote not a problem, almost always the next problem becomes labor. Right? So you have plenty of demand, not enough supply. This just becomes a question, like the thing that gets you from 500,000 to 3 million is going to be solving that constraint. How do you find great laborers? And when you're going after a foreman that's going to potentially do 500,000 in revenue or manage that much revenue, for example,
Right.
you have some spending power. Like, if you don't mind me asking, what's their salary going to be usually?
$30 to $40 an hour. I'm willing to pay $40 an hour for someone that can absolutely kill it in the field and not make mistakes.
Yeah, so we use Spark Hire, but I would highly recommend some sort of video application. Once you're above about $40 an hour, you can recruit people in. So you've been maybe marketing to your local area, but for $40 an hour, people will move. And you're willing to pay $3,000 to relocate someone from anywhere to be able to move them in. So we just did a national job hiring thing for general managers. 70,000 was the base salary plus incentives, but 70,000 base. And we got 1,700 applications. And we used that was Indeed. And then we used Spark Hire as a way to be able to filter out all the 98% of people that we aren't good. And then we took the 2% and then we were able to see everything and then categorize the top 50 for all the owners. And so whether you use Spark Hire is a little pricey, but some sort of video application process, then you can increase the size of your funnel to not just be your local area, but rather your whole state or even 3 or 4 states around you. You will get flooded with applications this time of year, flooded. And then you've got to have a mechanism to weed out 98% of people.
Yeah, you have to get good quality leads and then, qualifying questions just to make sure that you know who you're hiring. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into Spark Hire for sure.
Yeah, their base package is $299 a month, so it's not cheap, We do the higher one, like it's where it's $4.99 a month, but we use it like we don't allow in-person interviews without that video process being done. And
Yeah.
so, but even if you got it for a few months while you need to get a couple people, for example, and then you could bail on it. So it might be $600 cost, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That was helpful.
You got it. Leonardo, you're up.
Hey, how are you? So I want to
Fantastic.
get straight to it. I have a lot of questions to ask, but I'm going to start with one. So my main question is how to charge more because we have a lot of lawns. We do lawn care. So we have a lot of lawns that are priced between 55, 60, 70, and they should be priced between like the 80, 90, $100 range. But we're kind of scared to charge the clients more because we feel like they're going to leave us.
Do you have any proof that they're going to leave you?
No, we don't have any proof, but I feel like if I tell my dad, hey, like this is my dad's business, I try to help.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
so,
sense.
sorry. So I'm doing all the admin work. So it's only four of us, me, my dad, and two other guys. Those two other guys are the
Amen.
laborers. My dad doesn't know anything about business. All he knows is the work, and he's really, really good at the work. So I'm trying to learn I'm trying to learn a little bit of everything, the admin side, the actual labor side. I'm trying to learn a little bit of everything. But my question is how to charge more without losing those clients.
Cool. How many recurring customers do you have now, Leonardo?
So right now we're in the off season, so we only have 30 reoccurring clients. But
Okay.
once the spring season comes back, we should have around 50 to 60.
I'm assuming he's not really wanting to grow a bunch. Like he just wants to make more money.
What he wants is control because he told me like he doesn't want to have 10, 15, 20 employees because the more employees you have, the harder it is to control them.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. If you only keep it small, you could still have 4 employees and still make over 500 grand a year.
Yeah, so he wants to make money. He doesn't want to grow top line revenue to $1 million or anything like that. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. You're admin, right? You control all email, CRM, software. Cool.
Sir.
So I'm going to give you permission to raise prices on 10 people. Okay? Because what we need to do is prove to him that people aren't going to leave. Okay? Now, 1 or 2 of them are going to leave, but you're going to raise prices by a minimum of 15%. Minimum. Okay? Like you could do this without him knowing. And he will never know because you answer the phones, you do the email, and you control the software.
He knows. He gets all the checks. He does. Like, he uses Google Sheets. So since he doesn't really know how to use the computer, I made like a little. Whenever he receives a check, he goes to Google Sheets. He doesn't have to do anything fancy. Just clicks on the client's name. Okay, January. Okay, that was $280.
Get him off of checks.
Okay,
he doesn't need to be doing checks. Why
None of
don't
our
you do the
clients
checks?
want to pay online. I've already asked every single one of them, and a lot of them are against technology. No, I've done checks my whole life. None of them want to pay that fee. That's the problem. The fee.
That's fine. So to 2 things. 1, you can eat the fee. They don't have to pay the fee.
My dad doesn't want to eat he doesn't want to eat the fee. That's the problem.
Click a button and then they can pay it. Like the customer can pay it. Like ultimately all these problems that he's coming up with, Leonardo, is because you don't have enough customers. If you could only service, let's call it 60 or 70, and now you had 100, he would be begging for customers to leave.
Well,
and so
we have so here's the plan. So this summer right now, since it's 4 of us, we want to have one lawn care group. Okay, that one lawn care group is going to do the 50, 60 yards throughout the week, and that's going to keep them busy throughout the week. We also do a lot of landscape installation jobs, sod installation, irrigation, drainage work, etc. So we have 2 full-time crew. We have 2 full-time crews if I'm there, like we're too focused in the field. Like, we need to step out of the field, get into the sales process, start doing more admin work. Like we're both too focused in the field. That's what I've been trying to tell him, and I've been trying to convince him, but I feel like he doesn't listen to me because of my age, because I'm 19 years old. So because I haven't been able to prove myself, he doesn't like really believe me,
Everything I would say from a business perspective, let's put on a shelf for a second. That's the real thing, right? Like you don't have any proof, and that's fine, right? So I would not push on your dad, given the fact that he is way more experienced than you, knows way more about the industry. I think you have to come from the place of humility, and you're trying to help him. Right? He's not going to change unless there's evidence that doing so makes him more money and takes things off of his plate and gives him more control, because that's what he wants.
Exactly. So what I notice is I'll tell him something, for example, I'll say we should raise prices by 15%, for example. He won't listen to me, but if he hears a billionaire or millionaire says it, he's like, yeah, we should raise prices by 15%. And I'm like, I just told you that. Why don't you believe me,
Yeah, like it's very difficult with family because you've made it personal, right? Like both of you, right? It's difficult for him to listen to his 19-year-old son. It's difficult for you to work underneath your dad that you see all of his flaws, right? He's not your boss, he's your dad. And so I would, number 1, prioritize the relationship with your father, and that's the number 1. If in the meantime down the road, if you can work with him the next couple years and he gets more trusting of you and allows you to cash the checks, allows you to be able to take over settings, you just got to be patient, right?
Exactly.
It's patience. And then if it's the only thing that he sees right now to know if whether or not price increases are happening is the checks. Get yourself as a signer on the bank account and take it off his plate so he doesn't have to worry about it. And then you give him a report at the end of the month or at the end of the week in terms of how much money's coming in, because that's all he really cares about.
I noticed like he's been undercharging for a lot of jobs, you know. He's only had all these clients. Like the only way he's gotten all these clients are just straight from referrals because he does good work. He's an honest guy. But I noticed like a lot of people are taking advantage, like $800 for a drainage job that took like 10 hours. Like, come on, we're not making any profits. So
You can't fix that one. You can't fix that one, Lardo, because you don't have recurring revenue on a drainage job. He's gonna, as long as he's bidding, he can bid whatever he wants. It's his business.
but the problem
right?
is those drainage jobs are coming from our current clients.
I agree with you. Business wise, I agree with you. It's not your business, and he has years of experience. He's not going to listen to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would maintain rank underneath him and make sure that you serve him and what he's wanting for the business, while at the same time you might know everything that he's changed. Like, do you really believe people do not have a credit card? Do you really believe people don't have ACH? Like, they would have died during COVID. Like, they have the payment method, they will put it on file, but they're not going to do it for Chuck and a truck guy who shows up and has an Excel spreadsheet keeping track of payments. And so you getting into the software is going to be the type of thing that proves to your clients that having a card on file is a good thing for them.
Yeah, I am slowly proving. Ever since I used your Copilot CRM, slowly by slowly, like clients have been like paying online. You know, like when I joined Copilot just last month, but I was using Yardbook previously, and slowly by slowly, the customers were like adding their ACH and card to file. You know, so it's just a matter of time. But I just have the main question is, so this lady who has been helping us with the taxes and the profit and loss statement sheet. So I was just wondering if my dad was getting scammed because she charges in between $1,000 to $1,500 to do the whole profit and loss statement sheet for the whole year. Is that how much you're supposed to charge for that?
Is she doing bookkeeping on like a weekly basis?
Like no, we just give her the prop. Like I said, like I don't even know how you got this far. Like the only reason he got this far is because honesty and he does good work. Like numbers wise, like it just doesn't make sense, you know. So she kind of like she can manipulate my dad if she wants to, you know. She has the power to do it because my dad doesn't understand the numbers. So
he's getting charged between $1,000 and $1,500 for what? Bookkeeping or
no? It's just I don't. It's just straight up the profit and loss statement. Like he
right, but how is she coming up with the profit and loss statement?
Because we give her the bank statements at the end of the year, and
yeah, so like this is where you would want QuickBooks on where you're not just doing it at the end of the year.
Yeah,
you want to be doing quick.
I'm gonna try to organize my dad. I'm trying to do all the finances and you know I'm still learning, so I'm just trying to find out who's taking advantage of my dad or who isn't, you know, because I'm still learning at the same time. So I don't want people to take advantage of me as well.
Yeah, I would take much more of a follower's approach in terms of how things are handled with your dad. He's made it so far. He does a great work. I would support him 110% and maintain that relationship. And you're going to be frustrated all along the way because people are taking advantage of him. He's not charging enough, etc. But this isn't your business. You can do everything within your rank, but you can't punch above your weight class when it comes to your dad.
So that's what I want to mention to you. So I wanted to help my dad, like at least have control, you know, create those systems, the standard operating procedures. And once he has that control, I was thinking about joining the Augusta Lawn Care Nation if that was a possibility. I don't know if you have any, if there's already any locations in Georgia.
Yeah, all of that's like down the road. You could always talk to the team and see if it's a fit. For now, though, Leonardo, I think it is patience. I know it's like to be at 19 chomping at the bit trying to make changes, especially when you see your family hurting or people taking advantage of them. You just need to build your skill set. You need years, not months, but years of experience to where you don't even have to question whether a $1,500 is good for the P&L. You know how to do QuickBooks. Yep. You say, Dad, you don't need to do that. I do it every single week. Here it is. I can do it way more better. Like,
but the problem is like he's like, all right, you do the admin side, I'll do my work. I do the admin side. I'm like, hey, we need this, this, and that. I'm not trying to tell him like I try to find the cheapest solution possible, but every time he's like, no, we don't need it.
So
like, I'm paying Copilot out of my own pocket because he doesn't want to pay for it.
Yeah,
he knows what it's capable of, and he's like, oh, that's good, that's good. I'm like, why isn't the business paying for it? He's like, it's too much money. It's not that much.
So you can only change someone's mind based on proof. So I want it to be
proof. He still doesn't believe me. Like I don't know what to do, to be honest.
But when did you join Copilot?
I joined last month, and slowly by slowly.
Yeah. So here's the difference.
Okay.
You've done Copilot for 30 days. He's been in business for how many years?
For 20 plus years. I've been using Yardbook as well, and he saw what it was capable of, but he's
right. But the difference is he has approximately 50 times more experience doing the business without the software than he does with it. not 50, like 500.
I feel like he
So
doesn't like people telling him the truth because like it's just super unorganized. Like like if I'm not there, he'll send out two guys without instructions. He's like, okay, pine straw, mulch, blah blah blah, and this that. Okay, and then he just leaves them, and then the guys do a bad job because they need kind of like an instruction sheet. Like you can't expect them to memorize all that. Like
one thing at a time, one thing at a
one thing
time,
at a time.
Leonardo.
Yeah.
Just you just you stay underneath his direction. You do what he wants. He's the business owner, and then you prove it. Not for a month. I wouldn't believe you for a heart second if a 19-year-old told me after a month something was going to save me more money.
But
I've been in business for
I've
19
been working
years.
with him since I was 13, 14 years old.
Right, right. But like you've used the software for a month. He's not going to listen to you.
But I've been using a CRM for over a year, so I know a lot more about the CRM than he does, and I'm not trying to take advantage of him. I'm trying to help him.
Yeah.
This is going
No,
to
I know.
solve issues.
I know you have good intentions, but you got to remember that you're trying to change someone's behavior. And if you want what's best for him, you need him to adopt this because he starts to see a pattern without you saying anything. So when customers start coming to him saying, thank you so much for sending my credit card information, he's not going to even tell you. He's not going to give you credit, but he's going to, in the back of his mind, register that as a positive thing for the business. And then one day he said, hey, could we get everyone's card on file? And he'll come to you because you have a record of doing what's right for the business without asking or telling him what to do.
So just
Focus on that. Jeffrey, you're up.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? It's George, and this is my brother, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, we run Evergreen Outdoor Services. We're located over here in Houston, Texas. So I'll make it quick. I have a couple questions, just kind of what the last person said. Had a lot of experience in our market where, especially in these slower months, they want to do a lot of skips and stuff like that. So I want to stabilize revenue. We're doing about 600K a year. I want to stabilize revenue by doing subscription based. So kind of wanted to ask what have you seen? What's your experience been with that? And what's the most successful way to roll it out?
Yeah, so the first thing you want to be careful of is thinking that by doing subscription, you're going to make more money. What it does is it stabilizes your cash flow, which is fine. What market are you in?
Houston, Texas.
So in my opinion, I would go after winter services, not subscription. Mostly because when you sell to new customers, in your market, is it common that people are pitching a monthly price or is it like a per cut, per service type price?
I would say it's more common per cut, but there is people that offer like a monthly package or a subscription, or not really a subscription, like a package, a monthly package, and they'll just do like 42 cuts for the year and this and that.
Are you trying to grow like in terms of revenue right now, or like you want to be around that 600 to 800,000?
That's a really good question. I see your videos a lot and stuff. So what I'm trying to do right now, it's kind of like to stabilize. I read Alex Hormozzi's roadmap as well. So I'm trying to grow, but with like purpose. I'm not just trying to grow like crazy. I want to stabilize this year. So that's kind of my reasoning, just because being so flexible does create chaos during the middle of the season as well. I mean, I just want to stabilize the cash flows, but at the same time, I'm just a little bit scared adding friction to the sale in an already price sensitive market.
Most of the time when it comes to whether or not you use subscriptions versus per cut, for example, is going to come down to whether customers expect it. So if it's common in your market, I give the green light because people are used to comparing you versus the other guy who's 119 per month, you're 109, for example. When you start doing package pricing though, and no one knows what you're talking about, you drop your close rate dramatically and you require people to want all 4 services in the package instead of just the one thing they actually want, which is typically the gateway service, which for us is mowing. I would instead, if you're trying to still grow, it sounds like you kind of still want to grow. If you do, I would still keep your pricing where your gateway is per cut. I would try to then after 6 months or a year, you could potentially be trying to upsell them, quote unquote, into a recurring subscription and explain to them why it's better for them. Now, keep in mind, this isn't going to move your cash crunch to your spring rush because right now you have the cash influx during the spring when there's more services, people are rolling in. When you do a subscription price, you're bringing down the floor of how much you make during the spring rush, and then so you can spread that cash out during the winter. And so I'm much more of the opinion you can make more money, not cash flow, but better money by just selling a service during the off season. Like winter services in Houston crushes because you guys don't got like freezing snaps typically. So like there's still wind, there's still stuff falling off the trees. You can still edge, you can still trim bushes. Like
Yeah.
I think winter services would be a great option for you. And then you still have that variable revenue that's coming in during the spring that will spike along with the labor cost that also spikes. So
Gotcha.
sometimes when people go to subscription, like, yeah, it sells my off season, but then you have a cash crunch in the middle of spring rush when you should be growing, but you don't have enough money because now you're not making as much. You're making 119 on the property when you otherwise would have made 200 back in the day.
Okay, understood. One other question. At this stage, would you focus more on pushing harder on sales and marketing, or would you build stronger systems in terms of like ops and admin and stuff like that?
The only problem you have right now is your off season. If you fix that, you will have so much more confidence to be able to focus on growth because you're not going to where like right now in the winter, I can almost guarantee you're either break even or losing money for 3 to 4 months.
2 months, but yeah, about that.
That's the problem. You fix that, everything else, it's completely side issue. Because if you take those 2 months and just flip it to where you're making 10 or 15 grand in profit, your business probably doubles in profit.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Gotcha.
just focus on that. Like read the off-season book, the free version of the course is on my website. Like if you do that, everything else is like completely will become way easier.
Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, I just don't want any month of the off season to go less than 50% of revenue compared to your best months. And if I had to guess, right now it's 25, 30% tops.
Yeah, right now, January, February, I aim to break even, but I think we lose a couple grand, but everything else is like, we're 5 to 15 grand when the growing season or when we're going. So gives me enough confidence to go through the winter season, but it's just, I'm trying to prevent these skips and all this stuff because it does create chaos. We have most of our profit comes from projects, of course. So that's another thing, just trying to balance the recurring with the projects. But I know there's much other people, so
Yep, you're good. The only asterisk I'll put next in Cure 3 of the book. So Cure 4 is what I just talked about with winter services. Cure 3 though, Cure 2, my apologies. When it comes to projects, you can absolutely sell warranties and guarantees. So this is how you bake in recurring revenue after a one-time project. So you say, hey, I will warranty all these plants, all the irrigation. If anything breaks, we will be here forever. However, you have to sign up for our recurring service. And so you bake in extra value, get them on recurring service, and they're locked into it in order to be able to warranty everything you installed. You can get like 60% of plus of our projects to do this, assuming that you do things like irrigation, drainage, plants, any of those things. People love warranties because the last thing they want to think about is it breaking. And you just tie that warranty or that guarantee to you showing up on a regular basis for maintenance.
Okay, got it.
Great info. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right. I'm Anthony. Appreciate it. Thanks for going over on time here and whatnot. But I got a quick question just about, I don't really need to grow. We've got about just over 900 customers. We're doing about just a little over 500,000 in total revenue. My issue is finding quality employees, man. That's my biggest thing. And right now I'm almost in that, middle area to where I need to be dialed back more to free myself up to go look at sales and to take the phone calls and everything like that. So our biggest thing is just trying to find employees. And I don't even advertise. Like I don't put anything on the trucks. I don't put anything out there online. Like I literally just do referral word to mouth, and that's been our biggest generator of income, So for us, it's just how can we, find that guy that can possibly replace me to make it to where I can actually answer phone calls and do all the things that I need to do on my end where I'm not, constantly just stressed out and stretching myself too thin. Yeah.
It's like right now, are you answering the phones?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would really look at it as like you have sales, operation, and admin, right?
Yeah.
Right now you were trying to delegate operations. I want you to delegate admin first.
Okay.
Admin is a lower leverage task and it's easier to replace someone answering the phone, doing emails, sending out quotes, responding to customers. That's an easier and cheaper role to fill. But when you replace yourself for an hour of that time, you get an hour back to do operations or sales, which is higher leverage. Right. If you get an admin person, maybe not full-time, maybe full-time during the spring rush, but like they can be, a couple hours a day after spring rush, for example. But by doing that, you'll get to 750,000. Once you get to 750,000, then you go get an operations manager, and that allows you to move into sales. Right. So I want you to think about it. Right now, you're juggling all three balls of admin, sales, and operations. I want you to delegate everything with admin, every email, routing, scheduling, dispatch, all of that stuff is admin, and it can be taught, and it's easier to find someone and cheaper to find someone that does that versus operations where they have to have experience. They need to be able to hire, train, do mechanic work, all the rest of it. So I think you have the right idea, but it's just sequence of order of operations.
Yeah.
And to do admin, it's going to require systems so you can hand it off.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why we're switching to Copilot here actually next week. So we're going to full blown do the whole thing, the most expensive one. Cause I mean, we've been doing things very archaic here. It's just, the billing is just kind of I don't want to say nightmare, but it's very old school mailing stuff out. And I want to get away from that. And I want to get to digitalize everything eventually in the next, 2 to 3 years is kind of the long-term goal. That way you're not dealing with paper stamps, doing the whole thing, it's just so much labor intensive to do all that and money, because stamps are now 73 cents, so it's crazy what it costs to send a piece of mail out.
I would just say, like, don't think about trying to delegate operations or getting a stellar crew lead or anything until all of admin is completely delegated. And I don't think it'll take you 2 or 3 years. I think within 6 months, you can really focus on using the software and then creating systems for how you do things in email, how you answer the phone, how you send out quotes, how you send work change orders. You're going to create a system for all of those things, likely a screen recording that then you can hand off to someone else to do the admin work. That frees you up, I'm going to guess 20 to 30% of your day to go focus on the team. And that's going to be the unlock around hiring.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have more time to do onboarding, interviewing, screening, spend more time with them in the truck because you're not answering your phone and doing all this other admin related things.
Yeah. I mean, I literally sit in my truck for hours. So yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, man.
I would focus on that first. And then I'd say within a year or two, what's going to happen is you're going to grow the business and then you'll feel pressure again. And we'll do the same thing for operations. And then you will probably take one of your crew technicians and you'll upgrade them to be an operations manager so you can focus most of your time on sales. And that gets you past $1 million.
Yeah. I mean, it runs right now. Like if I take a week out, to do a vacation, it'll still operate okay. But it's just that, that initial spring rush and then that late fall, with that aeration season coming in, because we just strictly do fertilizing, and aerations. We really don't, stray from there at all. That's pretty much our bread and butter, really. But yeah, it makes sense on what you're saying for sure. Doing the admin first. So I definitely appreciate it.
Awesome. You got it. Marina, are you going to be the admin person?
I am. There's
you are?
Yeah, I do the invoicing and payments and answer all of those questions. There's just a lot of I think I have moles in my yard. Can you tell me what this product is that you put down that I'm like, I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
So
like, are you going to be trying to get yourself out of the business by having an admin person? Or are you staying as the admin person?
I was like, I'm kind of like, I want to stay the admin person. I just don't know if I can answer all those phone calls. I mean, like, give the answer. But yes, I want to continue to work as the admin person.
Cool. So every single time Anthony gets brought into anything to do with admin, we need to create a document around what was being said. That becomes the training that you end up handing off to someone else. But you also need to know it. Like, why moles are there? It's a question that has an answer. Right? And so you could create a Google Doc around this. You can create a chat in ChatGPT, create a project. You put all information as it comes in and you ask questions live on the phone and it spits out answers based on what you've told it.
Right.
Oh, well, okay.
Right. So yeah, I would really given the fact that both of you are in the business, basically everything Anthony does that is not to do with doing the work or getting work needs to be taken off his plate. And if it's a matter of just skill or knowledge, we need to download that from him to you. And if it's still impossible to do that, cut the service. Because there's probably 5 or 10% of your revenue that's coming from services that only he can manage the admin. Those services got to go so that you can systematize.
Okay. So, and then he gets a lot of calls of people are like, can you come look at my lawn? We have this brown spots in our yard. Should I be like maybe creating like a list for him, be like, these people say they have this in their yard. They want you to go see it. So then like I'm taking that phone call off of his plate, but he still has to go out there and look at it and do the footwork.
Right. And so now the objective is that when he shows up for his day, he knows which hours of the day he does operations and which hours he does sales. So for example, he's going to show up, he's going to get the crew started from 7 till 2. He knows he's out in the field with the team, training, getting jobs done, moving projects around, whatever. From 2 to 5, that's when you're scheduling estimates and potentially just drive-by estimates for things like spots on a lawn. He does not need to talk to the customer. That gives him the flexibility to get 5 or 6 estimates done instead of 2 or 3 because it's a drive-by estimate instead of an in-person estimate.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
No, appreciate you.
No more admin, Anthony. I disqualify you from the admin role.
No, I
Good
appreciate
stuff.
it.
You got Addison, go ahead, and then we'll come back to Jeremiah.
So my biggest concern is to get a reoccurring revenue set up. In the Waco area, it feels like the best selling proposition is speed to lead and a more comprehensive service where the customer doesn't have to think about their property. They just know, okay, I just want you to take care of all this. And it's a monthly fee. There's just a lot of the lower guys are going to show up. They'll work for $30 an hour and they're very happy with that. I don't want to do that. If you had to pick, I don't have a lot of cash at all. We had a slow start last year, which was fine. And then of course, going into winter, Google service leads has been a saving grace for us. It's brought in a lot of big projects through the winter. It's kind of helped us out. But if you had to pick another lead generator, websites built, it's not amazing, but it's decent. Do you feel like the Facebook ads, Google ads, or is it a mixture of things?
Yeah, so for me, it is like if I could dump more money on LSA, I would use it more. But the problem is you're capped by how much you can spend. They won't let you spend their whole budget. So that's the only reason I wouldn't just spend every dollar possible with them. Then I go door hangers, then I go Google ads, then I go Facebook ads, then I go anything crazy like Angie, Home Advisor. Sometimes those are worth some random markets. But I would say for all of those outside of LSA, spend the first dollars on your website.
Okay.
And so if that website is not optimized for conversion, not looking good, not anything like that, it needs to be optimized for conversion because we see this all the time. We do one thing at Home Service Web Design and it's optimized for conversion. That's actually the truth. Because when we get people, on average, about 1 out of 300 people that show up to your site become a lead. As a general, when we see people come in. If we can get that to 1 out of 100, just increasing their conversion rate, they triple their leads.
Right.
And so I would highly recommend before you spend $1 on ads, spend every dollar you spend on conversion rate optimization, designing your website and your flow on mobile, and making sure it's really easy to get a lead when you're on a mobile device, on the homepage, above the fold. That will outperform any dollar you spend on ads.
Okay. That being said, I don't think I'm in a place to, hire home design or whatever you called it. I don't even know that I really want to hire someone else. What do you see as being what is the biggest inhibitor to conversions? If you had to say one thing.
Okay, I'll do one thing and then I'll say I've made a bunch of videos where I go through websites and pick stuff out.
Okay.
If you watch a couple of those on the Home Service Millionaire channel where I do site after site after site, you'll start seeing a pattern. The biggest thing, if I had to say one, is estimate request form above the fold on the homepage. That'll increase your conversion by 30% alone compared to putting it on a contact us page or down below below the fold.
So on our homepage, we have a huge, contact for quote. It's one of the first things they see up top.
That's the number one thing.
Okay.
Watch the videos because there'll be 30 other things I'll go through on those.
Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
You got it. Jeremiah, you're up.
Mine's kind of similar to those. So I'm still on my first year of business. I started last April. It's just me. Primarily do pressure washing, exterior cleaning, seal coating, and epoxy. I only got 2 jobs for all of last year, both pressure washing, about $600. I spent about $1,500 on Yelp and door hangers. Both jobs I got were from Yelp, but it was double the cost in advertising just to get those 2. So I just want to know basically my size, where I'm at right now, what's the most effective advertising that I should be looking at and where to focus that advertising. I do have a website, business email, business cell phone.
I wouldn't spend any money on marketing. I would make sure that I am posting on local Facebook groups, my before and afters, not in a salesy way, just introducing yourself. I would make sure that I have at least 30 Google reviews on a verified Google business listing that has an address verified, not just a service area. I'd make sure I'm adding pictures at least once a week to my Google listing, and I have everything updated in terms of what services I offer on my Google listing. If you do that alone, if you get over 30 Google reviews, probably just that one thing, you'll get at least 2 leads a month from that. So that's where I would start. I wouldn't spend any money on marketing.
Good deal. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Joe Quinn, you've been waiting patiently. Go for it, brother.
Thank you. I just have one quick question. Just to give a little bit of background, I started the business when I was 14. The first year we did 60,000. Second year, which was last year, we did 220. This year we want to hit around 450 to 500. So far, we have never done any marketing. Biggest question is we're kind of thinking whether or not to just do a bunch of door hangers or whether or not it's better to do like just do me doing like door to door, like just actually interacting with customers or potential customers. So either we would just I would hire a guy, pay him whatever, $20 an hour to go do door hangers. And he would do that, 40 hours a week. Maybe our goal would be to do like 30, 40,000 door hangers.
So both of those you can test and see which one's going to convert more, right?
Okay.
So like if you start knocking on doors and 1 out of 20 people say yes, and 1 out of 100 are saying yes to door hangers, knocking on doors works great. And you will have a higher conversion if you knock on the door. The challenging part is what you just said, and that is when you scale this, are you wanting to either A, train people how to knock on doors and talk to people, or training them how to hang up a door hanger? Usually more scalable for the latter and
Right.
as door hanger, right? So not to say you can't do door to door and scale it. Like there are companies, especially around pest control, that do a ton of door to door. So you just don't know which one works for you. I would say as long as you are doing the door hangers, knock on the door, you will get more customers, assuming that you know how to talk, what to say when they open the door.
Right.
Like I'm gonna go on a limb and say you probably could have some gift of gab. You know how to be able to upsell them, talk to them about other stuff, get them engaged, walk around the property. Great. That's a harder skill that you might not be able to translate over to someone else versus like, here are door
that's what I
hangers,
was
put them
thinking.
on the door, right? So it might be whereas right now to get your first 20, 30, 40, you might work great for door knocking, but I would test both so that when you roll it out and you scale it out with someone else doing the door hangers, you know the general math of how many leads you get per 100.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome.
So the way we have two field positions, people that find the problem and then sell the repair needed, and then the repair guys come out, and so sales are handled by that first guy. You talk about, when a company gets into that $1 million range, the owner just really needs to be the salesperson. But in my business, I don't need to be the salesperson. What would you recommend my main duties? Because my goal this year is to get into that $1 million range where I can be the branch manager and out of the field. Right now I'm the working GM, and so thinking that one through, just because I hear you talk a lot about sales needs to be the number one thing when you get out of the field. My thoughts was just like making sure customers are happy, developing the team, and maintaining strong relationships with our referral partners. Like, I don't know if you've seen other business models operate in this way and would have recommendations.
So just to be clear, you're still in operations, leading the team, etc., but you have a salesperson. Is that correct?
No, someone goes out, finds the leak, they get paid to do a leak detection, and then they also sell the repairs. If there's a broken pipe, they're not repairing it. They're going to send a repair guy out. Right, we're going to send a repair guy out to repair it another day, and so I don't have to go do sales. Is what I mean. Like the leak detectors are also sales people, and then we have the repair guys that go out.
So the leak detectors, are those your employees or you're talking about the contractors?
Yeah, no, it's ours. Yeah. So we have
so
leak technicians and repair technicians.
So the leak technicians, are they technically, would you consider them sales?
It's a small part of their job. They're just going out, spending a few hours going through the full pool system. Let's say they find a broken pipe on the pool main drain line, and then they just provide an estimate saying, hey, if you want this fixed, here's what it'll cost, and we can have a guy come out next Tuesday or whatever. So it's not really like any hardcore sales stuff, but yeah, they're making the sales for repairs.
I think once you scale, what you'd probably end up doing is, as the architect of the business, is refining these processes, right? So like creating a training system so that, hey, when you see the leak, here's how you present it. And it no longer is it going to be like, here's the cost. It's like, it's going to be on a nice iPad, and it's going to have a nice, well-designed thing that they can fill in the numbers and show it to the customer. They tap on it, and it opens up and shows more information. Like, I think the architect mode is what you'd be moving into. Right now, you're still very much in the manager mode. And so moving into architect mode, you just step back from the building and think, okay, how is she answering the phone? Okay, let's create a script for it. How can I upsell them on the phone call? How can I prep them or qualify them before the leak whatever they call it, leak detector gets out there. And then with the leak detector, they have a process and system for the sales. And then like for finding the next spot on the schedule, like you basically step back and create systems for all of that. And vicariously, you're going to increase sales simply because you're probably going to make that leak detector's close rate go up, the amount that they sell go up. You're going to grease the wheels of upsells. A lot of those sort of things is what I'd be looking at.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's my favorite stuff to do. So sounds good to me.
Awesome. You got it. Go ahead for it.
I'm wanting to raise prices this year and potentially put the 3% on people using cards. So I may have two questions. So my first question is, you said that going to ACH would probably be a better way to go if you can get all your customers. It's really hard to talk customers into giving like your bank account information sometimes. Number one, would you try to go that route? And then number two, between now and March, when would be a good time to send out, say, hey, we're going to start putting this 3% if you don't go over to ACH, and this is going to be your price going forward for weekly lawn maintenance?
Are you really, really busy and like at capacity?
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, so I talked to Lee several times. His thing was maybe try to fill capacity because I got 2 trucks. With 1 truck, 2 people running it, and then try to fill capacity with just you, maybe doing just you going out doing solo weed control and fertilizing. Or if I wanted to raise prices to get rid of customers, I would probably have to get rid of probably 25 to 30 customers. It's just, we're kind of in between, but I think it's right now like the maintenance for everything that we have is sucking so much cash that it's hard to, save money during the year, to have cash on hand. It seems like that we spent a lot this year on gas, fixing, the lawn mowers and stuff like it. It was just a lot that this year just seemed like everything just wanted to fall apart. So
Yeah, like
I'm trying to figure out which direction to go.
I would say if you're going to raise prices at the same time, you also add a credit card fee because now you have 2 degrees of basically against your customers. You need to be at capacity to the point where you need to lose customers. Like so busy that you're like, I need 10% of customers to quit. Otherwise, I have to turn off leads, like no new customers. Until that point, I would not do it, mostly because I want you to actually raise the prices enough with no recourse, meaning like, I'm doing this no matter what. I need to lose customers. Until you're at that point, if you raise prices and you told them they have to charge a fee for their credit cards and 20% of people left, you'd feel bad.
Right, yeah.
So I think though that once you hit spring rush, there's a good chance you're going to get to the point where you're working overtime on weekends. The 2 trucks are maxed out. Great. That's the moment you say, hey, your new price as of April 1st is going to be this. And by the way, you got to have a credit card or ACH on file. It's 3% for the credit card. It's 0%, no fees for ACH.
Would you try to get people to move the ACH without saying, hey, we're going to put this 3% on here if you don't move to ACH? Would you try to move everybody over to ACH? Or does that really matter to you in the grand scheme of things?
Honestly, the way the design of the payment flow is, if you turn it on, they can see they can get free if they do ACH, right? It's the people that have a card on file. The people that have a card on file that have never checked their invoice, they're the ones that get mad because they don't actually see that. They just have a card on file, and now all of a sudden they're getting 3% tacked on. So I would just bake into one email, and I'd say I would much more pitch it as like, hey, there's going to be a 3% card fee. If you want to avoid this, just make sure you have an ACH and there'll be no fee whatsoever.
Okay.
Now, if you told me that, hey, we are at max capacity even going into spring rush and we're like up to our eyeballs in work, we can't, then sure, before the season even starts, just say, hey, here's your price for the upcoming season. I would even say new price. Just here's your price for the upcoming season. And by the way, we're charging fees on credit cards. If you want to avoid this, click this button and add your ACH and it'll be 0% processing.
Okay. Gotcha. How much money do you think it sucks if you hire 2 people as a W-2 employee? How much has that from starting, like putting 2 new people in the truck? How much money do you think that actually takes out of the profit once you do that? Like just kind of like an estimate, because I haven't really done that yet. And my CPA told me it's kind of really not really for one person, but maybe if you had 2 or 3, it may be worth it to put a W-2 and actually do the filing and giving them a check every week and stuff like that. But he says it's a lot of work on the back end just for one person.
Well, regardless of what your CPA says, it's illegal to have a 1099 likely. So,
Yeah.
regardless of how much extra work it is, according to the law, they should be paid a W-2. It's not super expensive. Usually, with QuickBooks or Gusto, you're looking at $40 to $60 a month, and then maybe $9 per employee or so to just run payroll. But like legally, you have to have them as a W-2. So I don't know what
Okay.
your CPA is doing, but like legally, they have to be a W-2. And then I would say anytime anyone says that having a technician costs you money, we have a bad business model. Having more employees should always make you more money because they should be earning, let's just call it 80 or $100 an hour, and you're paying them 20 to $30 an hour. So the only way you lose money when you add employees is if there's inefficiencies. So if you had an employee too soon, and now all of a sudden all your crew is twiddling their thumbs, yeah, you lose money. But the whole objective here is to understand how many budget hours every technician should be able to produce and then holding their feet to the fire on that. So like, do you use budget hours inside of Copilot right now?
Yeah, I try to. Basically, like every week's almost like in the red of where I'm budgeted hours, but it's just so hard because I'm trying to manage like everything. And so like everything is so overwhelming. Well, I think we have like 90 recon customers. We have like landscape, and it's just like it's so overwhelming to try to do all this at the end of the day.
Okay.
That
Okay. So I'm taking back what I've told you. You're going to raise prices immediately. As you go into
Okay.
as you go into the season, you're gonna say, hey everyone, here's your prices for the upcoming season. You're not gonna say new. Do not use the word new. Here's your prices for the upcoming season. Going forward, 3% is gonna be charged for credit cards. If you want to get around this, you can put your bank information on file. Use this link. You are not going to say new prices or there's a price increase or anything like that. You're simply going to say, here's your prices for the 2026 season. And the reason I need you to do that right away is because you're suffocating from cash and you are overwhelmed. I need you to lose some customers going in the spring rush, and I need you, the customers that do stay, for them to double in profit because you're going to raise prices by a minimum of 15%.
Okay.
Minimum, like ideally more like 20 or 25, but like minimum, do not raise a 5%. And this is why I'll also say you might want to consider just raising it 18% and not doing the credit card fee thing.
Okay.
So just instead of, if you're like, hey, I'll do 15%, great. Why not just do 18%? Because it's literally $1 extra per cut. And don't worry about the whole convincing people about the ACH thing. Just be like, here's your prices for the upcoming season. Boom. And just convince yourself to raise it 3% extra and eat the cost
Okay,
of the
gotcha.
cards.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it kind of takes a little bit out of what the customer should be doing. It's like you said, like two different things that you're raising prices on, but if you just put it in there, maybe it looks a little bit better in the long run. So, okay,
And do
cool.
that. Yeah, I would definitely do that like 1 or 2 weeks before going into the spring rush. You're gonna lose more customers than if you wait till what I said prior. But I am based upon what you said about budget hours and you feeling so scattered, we need more breathing room. And so I'm not gonna freak out if you lose 10 or 15 customers, but now your profit doubles,
Okay,
right?
that sounds great. Yeah,
All right, you're the man.
I
Let's do
appreciate it, man.
You
Thanks.
got it. Zach, you're up.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Need some help in terms of maybe I'm just not thinking about this the right way. I'm looking to make a change on our the people who do our marketing. As you know, we spend a good amount on marketing. Last year was about 4% of revenue, and mainly, let's see, $46,000. 29 of that was direct ad spend on Facebook and Google. So
What was the rest?
vast amount. The rest was a mix of basically paying our people to run the ads. We had a website, like a 2-year website agreement, SEO. That's the rest. So first thing is we are going to take a little bit of step back, not a little bit, a big step back on our direct ad spend and focus more on our current customers that we have inside Copilot. Have over 1,000 emails in there that we're not tapping into enough. But in terms of our outgoing marketing, I have a proposal in front of me here from a group that does a lot with landscape companies. It's about $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year. But it's going to be a lot more than just Facebook ads. So it's focusing more on content and, kind of just a full circle marketing rather than just one avenue. Am I spending too much if we're going to stay around that 4%?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's their actual ad spend gonna be out of the 50 grand?
Out of the 50 grand, 12,000.
Yeah,
Everything else will include, sorry, say what?
Yeah, it's nothing. Like they're making good margin on this. So I would strongly advise against that package.
Okay.
80% is being wrapped up in management, like almost 80%, like 75 plus percent, right? So anything more than about 30 percent in management is straight margin for an agency.
Okay.
Things like content, AI is so good at this stuff, especially because they're going to are they using your content, or are they using someone else's, or they generate it?
No, this includes 4 full days of filming and photos with our guys. And there's a bunch of different line items on here, but it would be they come out and they make our personalized content.
Yeah, like in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, based upon what we do at Augusta, if someone takes their iPhone out of their pocket and takes a picture of their team, that will get more views on social media than our professional 15-person media team taking photos. And so, in my opinion, you beats this $50,000 thing by doing two things. One, taking pictures and video yourself for maybe 10 to 15 minutes a week. Like that's all it is required. It's like, or your crew. You could literally pay your crew $5 for good photos. We used to do this out back in the day for our team. We had they would submit photos to the team chat, and then we would give $100 away a month to the best photo of the month. And we've got like 20 to 40 photos that were really good out in the field, and they outperform professional photos by far, by far. Okay. And then the second thing is you go on Upwork, and you're going to get a professional to do your Facebook or your Upwork or your Google ads, and you're going to spend about $500 to $1,000 a month for the best of the best. Not an ad.
You said
agency.
Upwork?
Yeah, Upwork. You can find freelancers. You're going to pay between $100 to $200 an hour, but they only need to manage your account for about an hour a week. It doesn't take a lot, and so you're going to find like the best of the best Facebook person, the best of the best Google person on there, and then they're going to get the ads up and running. But more importantly, they're going to tell you what they're doing because they're incentivized to work for you, not this like very holistic $50,000 package where you're getting a lot of stuff. It's hard for you to actually measure the performance of the $50,000. And so what I would rather you do is, first off, I'd rather give your team $5,000 over the course of the year for really good pictures and videos, before and afters. You'll have hundreds of photos, and I guarantee you they will outperform professional photography and professional videos. Like if you look at my content, go through this thing of the stuff that's professional versus the stuff that I just take with like my camera, 5 to 10 times more engagement will be on the ones where I just take random photos of myself. It'll perform better, and more importantly, you'll have the extra money to go spend on ad budget. I would rather you spend $24,000 on ad budget, i.e. double, and spend maybe $5,000 or $10,000 on management. And that's what you can do if you use Upwork.
Okay. No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it. Matthew's up next again.
Hey, a question on like how to set things up to where the team is properly incentivized. So right now we do a production pay, but there's like a base basically. So people know they're going to get at least this much every week. And then if they outperform, their expectations, then they get a bonus. And that could be anywhere from $100 to $600 in a week. But what I'm noticing, all right, so we kind of have 3 different categories we keep track of things on. You have your general KPIs. You have this list of daily duties that need to get done. And then obviously, no callbacks, like customer satisfaction. Seems like everybody's performing well, like they're hitting the KPIs, customers are happy, but all the little daily things that need to be done properly, proper reports, proper pictures, filling out an estimate properly. If there's certain items on there that needs a special part, make sure you communicate with me. All these little details seem to get passed over, and I'll remind people, and it still happens, should I, or is it even legal to attach bonuses to proper performance in the week? You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you don't successfully complete your list of daily duties, you don't unlock your bonus. Is something like that allowed? Or what would you recommend to just have these guys actually doing everything that needs to be done, and I'm not having to remind them in the morning when I'm sitting on the computer reviewing the previous day?
Yeah, it's like, look, if you don't perform these tasks, you do not get anything above your base pay. And your base pay, as long as your employee handbook is only stating that they make this amount, which is their base pay, everything else you give them as bonuses is all on you. Like, you got to report it as income, and they got to pay taxes on it. But like, you don't promise them, like, even the job description, you don't say like, it's $20 an hour plus X amount per week on bonuses. You can't say that. You say it's X amount as your base, and you're able to make more based upon performance, right? You got to just be careful to not guarantee or promise that money, because it needs to be completely based upon whether or not they perform. And you can just have it where it's like, hey, This is how much you made in bonus. Great. But there's this one question. It's a yes or no question. And it's a qualifier as to whether or not you even get it. And that's whether or not you did these tasks. And I would only do that in the event where they have to be 99.99% of the time able to do it. Like, just don't make it where, like, if they miss one thing, they lose $1,000. Like, then they're going to think that you're just being, maniacal or just a little crazy on it.
Sure. I mean, outside of that, though, I mean, these guys are performing well and nice, but it just seems like they're like, oh yeah, I'll get to that before I head home, and then they don't do it, and I message them the next morning. Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. But that'll happen 12 times in 3 months, and it's just like, come on, like I shouldn't have to micromanage you, or am I wrong? Like, is that just a part of the game? Like you're just having to, babysit people every once in a while.
Yeah, like I typically, I typically like to use a carrot instead of a stick, right? So the stick is you do not get your bonus if you do not get these things done. Will you get compliance? Yes. Right. So like that's where most people will go immediately. You can also use the carrot approach, which is, hey, if you do all these things, your bonus gets increased by 10% automatically. I would do that. Now no one's thinking you're a mean person. They just want to get it done so they can make more money. Same exact thing, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just incentivize it versus being corrective.
Yeah, I like it. Awesome. Thank you very much.
You got it. All right. Lawn Care Monster, go ahead.
Quick question about raising the prices again. I have a few subdivisions. That one subdivision I have about 9 customers in there. One subdivision I have about 8. And it's kind of like the route density. There are different days. One's for Thursday and one's for Friday. Would you recommend raising those prices? Because on those, it's kind of like you make a lot of money there when you can just drop your truck and just go around and do all those. Would you risk wanting to lose those? I know it sounds like a silly question, but like those is like I can do those in an hour and almost do like 9 houses all at one time, versus
of your 90 clients, how many are of that caliber?
I had to go through and look. Like some of them, like my Monday routes is pretty full. Like my Monday routes is probably I can hit that. I really don't have a subdivision. The only subdivisions I have is like the one on Thursdays and ones on Fridays.
As a function of percent, if you had to guess, out of 90,
probably 20%, maybe.
So
maybe it may be a little high too.
So if you really want, we're talking about 15 customers here. So if you really want to not raise price on them, okay, that's fine. Do I think you should raise across the board because you're stressed, overwhelmed, and feel scattered? Yes. So also your best customers are usually the ones that have more money, are higher value, and see the most value in your service. Everyone thinks like, oh no, like those are my best customers because I can make more money on them. They're probably your best customers because they accept services, they don't give you any problems, and because the reason they do that is because they see a whole bunch of value in your service. And so I'm much more of the opinion you raise price across the board, especially because your budget hours are all over the place. You haven't been tracking those accurately. Like I would just look at 90 and raise the prices, but if you're like, I don't know, great, raise the 65 or 75 that are not those high caliber clients and lose 10 of those. And then when you hit capacity, then maybe you raise price on the rest of them.
Okay. But you're a big fan of all the way across the board, no matter what.
Make more money.
Okay, gotcha.
Old customers in the CRM, like as far as we have their contact information, like they may be 2 or 3 years old. At what point in time would you say that it would, should you always reach out to those customers and send, emails to try to get business or whatever? Or is there a certain amount of time that you would say that you would kind of remove them from the system?
I keep them in the system until they tell me to remove them. The reason is because it doesn't cost you any more to send an email to them. And even once down the road, when we start charging for text, let's say it's 3 or 4 cents, we're talking about 100 of those is going to cost you $3 or $4. So that's, of course, the question becomes over the next 10 years, and you send 100 text messages, will they accept one time? Pretty good chance. A lot of our customers who do click on our one-click custom emails or respond to our texts, we haven't done service for over 12 months. We did this report, and my location is very manual. It was like when people respond to a text message, when was the last time we did service? Most of them haven't done service for 12 plus months. And so the whole objective when you're building and scaling with your contact database is that eventually you don't have to spend any more money on marketing for new leads, but you can only do that if you keep the leads in your database warm. As soon as they go cold, they're not worth anything. There are times when you sell your business, the warmth of that contact list is a huge proponent of valuation, in my opinion. Because if I can get 5,000 of your contacts and immediately go send them a text message and get 20 recurring customers and $50,000 worth of one-time projects, I could buy your whole business and pay for it within a matter of a couple months. And so
Right.
I would absolutely keep them in the system unless they ask to be removed.
Okay. And then also I was going to ask, we've never ran any Google ads, so we're probably sitting around, right around 500,000-600,000. We've never ran any Google ads or anything like that. So you would suggest to start that with Upworks?
Well, okay. So you're asking, should you start doing Google ads? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I mean, we want to get to $1 million plus. I mean, right now it's kind of like the opposite. So like we have a lot of cash right now.
How many people are in your database right now?
Probably around 1,500.
Okay, and are you sending out texts each month?
Well, I did one time, and then I got a bunch back, and then it's kind of like, okay, now I'm running around to these properties trying to do an estimate, and then not really getting anything approved from it. Maybe one person approves, but everybody says, yeah, I want to estimate. And then you go and, you're wasting time going to the property to ride by it or whatever to give them an estimate. And then they're not really getting accepted.
Okay. Yeah. So two things. First off, when it comes to the text message, you will want to only go after pain, because otherwise there's no real reason for them to accept. So for example, snow, that's why it worked well. Windstorms works well. Christmas, like you want to have a reason and with urgency and scarcity around the text message. Otherwise, it is like, yeah, sure, I'll have an estimate. I don't really need anything done, but sure, go for it, right? So that's one side note I would say around how just like to do the text in that fashion. When it comes to advertising, have you already got a website, Patrick?
Yes.
Okay, and is that optimized like with conversion and stuff?
Yeah, that's where most of our clients come from. That and Google My Business.
Cool. How many Google reviews you have now?
Almost 100.
Cool. All right. And have you spent anything on ads at all or not?
Nothing. We've never spent anything on it. I mean, we do like a magazine mailer that's like $450 per month.
Yeah. So I would start first with your Google Local Services ads. Don't start with Google Ads itself. LSA, it's called Local Services Ads. That's going to be your best cost per lead. Depending on your market, probably between 20 and 30 bucks per lead. It's really high quality because it's a recorded phone call or you see the chat. Like it's really good. So start there. It's not going to be, you're not going to be able to dump a lot of money into it though. So then I would go to Google Ads. And again, you should not spend more than $400 or $500, maybe $600 a month for someone to manage it. But if you have the cash and you can spend $400 or $500 a month on ad spend, it's likely that just doing the LSA and spending a little bit of ads will get you to the $1 million marker.
So you would start with LSA and then move to Google Ads. I mean, would you use Upwork to let someone do that? I mean, I really don't know what's going on with the Google Ads.
Yep.
To be honest.
Go into Upwork and you're going to be able to look at people's accounts of all the reviews that they've done services. I'm not getting the cheapest person. For me personally, if they're over $100 an hour, I don't touch them. I'll pay people $600 an hour on Upwork. But I'm trying to download their information of what they know, and they're my employee. It's not like a contracting business like Zach was talking about, where they're going to kind of keep everything away from you, and there's kind of this magic black box of stuff happening. I want to know what's going on, so I require when I go get someone on Upwork, I say, hey, I want a video at least once a month, and I want you to show everything in my account via screen recording of what you're doing. Because I want to know what's happening. That's the difference between getting someone on Upwork versus an agency. An agency is not going to tell you what they're doing. They're not going to tell you what keywords they're changing, what the targeting is changing, what they're tweaking the back end, because that's their secret sauce that they want to keep you tied to. Whereas someone on Upwork, they're charging you for their time. They don't care.
Right. Do you do the same thing with SEO, for a website?
If anyone's charging you more than a couple $100 a month for SEO, they're overcharging you. SEO needs to be tweaked maybe 1 to 3 times a year. It is not something that needs to be adjusted a lot. Like at Home Service Web Design, we do it once a quarter. And so I know what the costs are on SEO. It's not big. If someone's saying it's like, oh, we're doing all these keywords and tags, like they're blowing up smoke. Like it's not true. And also with AI, it's very much less and less is going to be emphasized on keywords and much more around, are people satisfied when they get to your website? Like the design is going to mean everything. Like in the old days, you could kind of convince Google that you're a good site by using keywords and a bunch of tags and all this stuff. That's out the window with AI, because AI knows if someone gets to your site and actually submits an estimate request form, if they actually liked the site and stayed on it for 2 or 3 minutes versus seeing it for 1 second and bouncing off. And so a lot of things in the past around SEO is a lot of it's useless. It's around, is the customer satisfied? Is the people searching for the website satisfied and actually taking action? And so it's much more a game now with AI of answering questions. Like you'll see in Augusta's site, we're coming out in the next couple of weeks, like having FAQs, very positive. Will outperform a blog every day of the week. Posting images to your Google My Business page or Google listing every single 2 or 3 days, just keeping the content consistently going there with pictures, just like you would to Facebook, you should be doing to Google listing. Those are way bigger levers than like someone moving tags and keywords and hyperlinks on the back end of SEO. They're just taking money from you.
Okay. So with the Upwork in the Google AdWords, I guess there's a way that you can give, the person on Upwork their own login so you can manage that, right? And take, okay.
Yep. And they'll walk you through that.
Okay, cool.
And what's cool is on Upwork, if they're malicious, you can leave a bad review for them. So like they want to do a good job. They're running it like a business. They want to do a good job, so you leave a good review, and so you can go on and see hundreds of other people that have done work for them and said if they have done that or not. So fantastic. We'll see ya. Take care.